Okay, so good afternoon slash evening again. So like I usually like to start every class just with a quick introduction. In case you haven't really been following us since the start of this, like 5 weeks ago, my name is Mushokbe. I work in marketing comms or advertising. I've been doing this for over 8 years, and I always like to describe myself as a digitally focused brand and communications practitioner. I've been doing this for on brands like Jameson, Artex, Samsung, and most recently NigerPay. So to do a quick recap for last week, right? Last week, or rather, before I go into what we did last week, the first week we talked about digital marketing fundamentals, like just an overview on what digital marketing is. In the second week, we dove into the power of Google and how Google can help you drive growth and visibility for your business. And after that, we spoke about email marketing. We've also spoken about WhatsApp marketing. Last week, we focused on the foundation of every successful digital marketing effort, which is campaign planning. So the purpose of the course or the class for last week was to show and give an overview of how digital marketing works, how basically you can plan your campaign by taking into consideration all the different elements. We explored how to clearly define your objectives, which one of the things, if you don't have a goal, that you most probably should not be doing digital marketing or should not be running any campaigns. Your objective and your goal is the first thing, right? The next is to identify your target audience. We spoke about demographics and psychographics in trying to understand your audience, and in using that in planning your campaign. We looked at choosing the right channels and the right content formats. And finally, last week, one of the key things we discussed was to look at how marketing funnels impact digital marketing. What we discussed on marketing funnels generally is that a funnel tells you where your customer is in the journey of your marketing. It also tells you what phase your marketing activity is at, right? And each element of the funnel gives you an idea of the kind of activities that you should be having. So the activities that would drive awareness will be different from the activities that would drive conversions, for example. So that's, in summary, is what we discussed last week, right? So just to look at last week's assignments before we go into the focus of this week. Last week's assignment was for us to, one, define your digital marketing campaign by outlining a main objective. So your main objective could have been sales, booking appointments, getting more views. Also then define your target audience, the channels you use, and the types of content you create, right? Then after you've defined that, the next thing for the assignment was for you to build a marketing funnel, explaining how you will grab attention in the various stages from awareness to discovery to consideration, conversions, and also retention, which like we discussed last week, retention is the element of your campaign that ensures that it goes round in a circle. Retention simply means that you are building loyalty. So you can actually start your campaign. One of the key things discussed last week was that funnels different. The old funnel was like a straight line, but now it's more like a process. So before we go into who had the best assignment last week, I think what I'm going to do is highlight that person's assignments and just give us just give us a breakdown of what this person did and what I really liked about the assignments. So the assignment for last week, the one that I saw out of every submission that I think really, really captured the essence of what we were trying to discuss last week was this assignment. The brand used was Coca-Cola, and I think this was done by Funshaw Husseini. So what I really liked about this, again, first things first, is the structure. And I think that compared to the previous weeks, every other person who submitted kind of got this right. You're able to break down your documents in a way that it makes it very easy to consume and understand, right? I really like how the objectives were defined, from awareness to strengthening youth appeal to boosting social engagement and embracing loyalty. I like this most essentially because you can actually see different elements of your funnel in your objective, right? I also really like how the audience, target audience was broken down into, if I'm to give any feedback, right, on the interest and the demographic, on the psychographics part of it, some of these things you might not necessarily use, you might not be able to use them in defining your audience in, let's say, an advertising channel. So if you're trying to set up an ad on Facebook or Google, some of the things that you mentioned as interest, and this feedback goes to everyone who submitted, you need to be very conscious of the fact that when we speak about interest, you also need to focus on interests that can enable you to set up your campaign. So, example, you might not necessarily find brand activations as something to select as an interest, right? So it's important that your interest and your psychographics, what you are using to define that is extremely broad, or it's not necessarily broad. It's detailed enough that the system can actually find who you're looking for. Secondly, when you're defining interests, sometimes it's also better to define it from the point of view of describing how this person likes to think, right? So for example, if I'm to do this better, I would probably say, oh, they're into music, Afrobeats, and parties related to that. So that gives you, if you're doing a document, that gives whoever is reading, whoever you're presenting to, a clearer understanding, as opposed to when you just highlight music and parties. So there's really nothing wrong in how this is done, but I'm just saying that it could be better. My favorite part about this, right, is how each channel, and I think this is the difference between this assignment and the other assignments that I saw. The major difference in this assignment and the others is how each channel is very detailed and focused on something, right? Your lead platform is TikTok, and you're using TikTok for a specific reason. One general mistake I've seen with campaign setup and campaign planning is selecting a channel that you think might just cut across. However, different channels have their specific uses. For example, you might not necessarily be able to do what you're trying to do with TikTok on Twitter, right? And I like how, as you were selecting your channels, you were emphasizing that, oh, this channel is going to be used for this channel is going to be used for this, and it actually comes through in the content strategy, right? You broke it down per platform. So TikTok is your primary channel, and you're using this to drive viral growth. And I kind of like how this is really structured. The second element of the assignment is in the funnel. I would have preferred to see an actual funnel, like the actual visual representation of the funnel. I think only one person did this, but it was more of a screenshot from the last class. I mean, any image of a funnel works, right? And there are 1,000,001 images on the internet that I think you could have simply used instead of just doing this. But this is also not bad, right? It gives you an idea of where you are going from awareness to discovery to consideration to conversion and loyalty. Yeah, so I kind of just like how this is structured. It's in two separate documents. You've explained awareness as your way of grabbing attention and building hype, and then going straight into discovery with engagement, and then consideration, and landing on the final, which is loyalty. So I really, really like how this is done. Well done to you, Funshaw. I think that this was really, really great. Also, kudos to everyone else who submitted. I know that it's also not very easy, turning in assignments for classes when you have a busy schedule, but I really like how you did yours, and I think that it was a good job. Also, considering that you also did a very good job last week, so it's great that you've been consistent with that. So going straight into what we're trying to do today. Today's class is focused on integration, right? And today, what we really want to look at is how you can use digital tools or digital generally to strengthen your offline business. So one thing I've mentioned at the start, like all throughout this course and at the start as well, is the fact that your business is most probably offline. However, digital marketing is one way of reaching your intended audience. One thing we've also discussed is that your audience goes from place to place. We live in a digital age, but doesn't necessarily mean that living in a digital age means that you are only available in physical spaces or digital spaces. the interesting thing about integration is that it finds a way to link your digital activities to your offline activities and vice versa. So by the end of this course, what I would like is if every participant, every attendee has an understanding of how to move from an offline only marketing approach to something more integrated, right? An integrated marketing campaign is one that integrates not just digital, but every other element. But the focus of integration is how you can use digital elements and digital tools to integrate your campaigns into your offline activities or your offline presence. Another thing we would like to have, or I would like for you to have by the end of this course, is a way to, explore things like payments in enabling and supporting your business goals. And also, we're also going to be talking about lesser used, but also very effective tools like SMS marketing and how that can actually help drive offline results. So without speaking too much, I'm just going to go straight into it and describing and helping us understand what they're referring to by integration. So before we go into that, Mr. Godwin, could you help us with the first poll, please? Okay, so the first poll says, have you ever used something offline, let's say a flyer, a poster, or maybe you heard it from your friend or rather word of mouth to drive customers to your brand, your offering, your products? So just select anyone. Again, with polls like this, there's really no right answer. This is just me trying to gauge our understanding of what we're actually trying to discuss. All right. So some people said that they have actually used something offline to drive to like an online offer or an online engagement. Some other people have said that they haven't, but they want to try. And that's actually great, because one of the things we'll actually get into is how the easiest way for you to drive integration, right? And that's one of the key things we'll discuss for the length of the class. So going straight into it, offline to online integration or integration generally, right? This integration simply means linking your physical store, offline presence, offline activities to your digital platform or digital activities. So simply put, and I think I've kind of explained this, but let me just explain it this way, right? When you say you are integrating your campaign, what that simply means is that you probably have, let's say, a physical store somewhere, and you have foot traffic in that physical store. Now, integrating this or doing a digital integration simply means that you will be having digital activities that can enable that and also allow you to, run a campaign that can easily be tracked. So integration basically is you having a physical presence, a physical store, and using specific tools to link your campaign in store to, let's say, maybe your Facebook page, for example, or it could be vice versa. It could simply be that you have an online activity, you have an online page, you have a website, and you want people to be able to do something on your website that leads them to where your physical store is. So that's how integration works. Offline to online integration or online to offline integration, however you want to look at it, is basically you ensuring that your campaign is seamless, right? Go with the assumption, whenever you're setting up a campaign, go with the assumption that your audience is not always online, even if what you're focused on is digital marketing. If what you're focused on is an event or a pop-up or just getting people to your store, or you just, maybe you're a hairdresser and you have people in your store. When you are properly, like when you have like digital integration, you have tools in your office or in your physical location that allows people see what you are doing offline. You can also use those tools to drive traffic to an online element of your campaign. So that way you're running your campaign in such a way that people can make a decision whenever they want. And that's the important part about integration, is that your customers will discover and engage with your business in different ways. Some of them will walk into your store. Some of them will find you off like online. I mean, if you remember when we were discussing last week about the modern funnel and how digital marketing and sales funnels work, is that right now, anybody can join your funnel at any point, right? Awareness isn't necessarily the start of your funnel or the journey of your customer. You would obviously have awareness elements, but I can possibly just join from the consideration level because I've probably seen something else that is making me interested. Maybe I've seen a product or a feature or you've told me that your store is 5 minutes away from my house, something like that. So it's very important for you to have your campaigns integrated with digital elements, because it connects both worlds and it creates a smooth customer journey. So it's basically done in a way that people can, for example, visit your shop, see a flyer, and then take an action online that can possibly lead to sales or a different element of business growth. So for example, you have a store. You are getting people to buy things in your store, but part of your business objective is to also grow your online presence. Because you have a QR code or a flyer or an element of your campaign that requires them to maybe go online to your social media page, to your website to make an activity, you are properly integrated. That way, if I don't make my final decision in your store, I have an opportunity, because maybe I've taken away a flyer, to continue my consumer journey offline at my own convenience. Also, it's also important to consider and know that sometimes user behavior makes you understand that people would rather complete or do things at their own pace. So if your campaign starts and ends offline, i.e. in your store, at an event, you would notice that there's a drop-off. Offline campaigns also, like I think I've mentioned this in one of the previous classes, offline campaigns or running marketing offline strictly is like winking in the dark. You can't necessarily tell how far that campaign has gone, or what people are saying, or like a properly integrated digital integration allows you gain data and valuable data that can help you plan your campaign better. So there's the question, can we classify signages in front of your shop as a good offline integration? Yes and no. So the purpose of digital integration is leading people back to a platform. So if you're starting online, digital integration leads people to your offline store. If you're starting offline, digital integration leads people back online, or enables you to collect data in a way that works. So a signage is a good example of trying to do offline integration. But if you're not actually leading people with your signage back offline or back online, then it's not the best, which is why I said yes or no. So a signage that doesn't have a call to action, doesn't tell people what to do, and doesn't specify what you mean by integration that's not, you're not really integrating anything. However, once you are able to add elements or digital tools to your signage that allows people make decisions offline, then it works. I hope that clarifies. Okay, so the simplest way to do integration is the QR code. This is the cheapest, most cost-effective way of driving integration, right? A QR code is straight to the point. You can put your QR code on a flyer or a poster. You can put a QR code on a packaging. I've seen this a lot. I don't know if anyone on the call actually likes Pringles. If you've bought Pringles recently, or maybe Monster, the Monster can, you'll probably see a QR code. I think on the top of some Pringles package, you would see a QR code to a competition. You've gone in store, you've bought the product. You've most probably not heard about this campaign in your life until you saw the QR code, you scanned the QR code, and it took you to a landing page. That is a campaign that is properly integrated, because you are not just making a purchase, they are also trying to get you to do extra things. That QR code integration, for example, could lead to a form that people can sign. That way you can then get phone numbers, emails legally. Another way you can use QR code to drive integration is having it at your shop counter or your entrance. This is also something that I've seen a lot. I don't know if you guys have seen this in Computer Village or any store where you're trying to make a payment and then there's a QR code for you to scan, right? If you scan that QR code, automatically it takes you to a page where you are going to make a payment, right? You as the business owner, that is extremely beneficial for you because there's no drop off. You can actually manage your payment and your traffic in store by simply reducing the amount of things that your customers will ask you, right? Some QR payments, for example, allow you to specify the amount of money they're supposed to pay. So no one is underpaying, no one is overpaying. It has basically been integrated. So you come into your shop, you make your inquiries, you scan, and then you pay. That's a way to use integration QR code to actually integrate your campaigns. That way you are ensuring that there is an online element to whatever you're doing offline. I can explain this in a different way. Go in store, scan the QR code, it takes you to their Instagram page. You in store, you can possibly then do this where you tell them, if you follow us on our Instagram page, basically you will get a discount, right? All of that can actually happen with the QR code. It's a simple matter of actually building it, and building a QR code is a very, very straightforward process. Another way of integrating using a QR code is having it on your event banners. So if you're, for example, you're having like a pop-up, or you're having like an event that brings people together in the name of your brand, your product, or your service, you can also have QR codes in your banners. That way they can scan. And this is actually done a lot by fintech brands. Let me give you an example. So as a fintech brand or someone who works with a fintech, what we usually do sometimes is to go into the market, go for events. We call them activations, basically. And sometimes your customers will be asking you a lot of questions. You can actually put your FAQs into a QR code, get them to scan, and they can simply just look at everything they need. If they have further questions, then they can now actually come and meet you. Some brands actually go for that to put a link to downloading their app in this QR code. For some people, you scan the code, you sign up for a feature, you sign up for a product. So you are already having an offline activation, but this QR code enables your customers do more things at their convenience, especially with the power of their phone. So I can scan the QR code and save the landing page on my phone and decide to do it at my convenience. I can decide that I want to finalize my transaction because I have a flyer or a poster from you that has a QR code embedded. That way, the flyer already tells you everything you need to do. All you have to do is just like basically scan. Sorry, I think there's some questions or comments in the chat box. Can we classify? Okay, no, we've done that. All right. So other ways of integration, right? One way of also integrating is by connecting your campaigns across channels. So let me give an example. You're running a buy one, get one free promo. What you can do is you can share that physically via flyers and posters. I've said this earlier. Now, your flyers can then link to a WhatsApp story or an Instagram story or a coupon. Basically, your WhatsApp story, your Instagram story can have more information. It can have a coupon. They can simply scan this code, go straight into your WhatsApp, and you can do an automated response that gives them a QR code, right? And what you're telling your customers is scan this to claim your offer online. So you have an offer already. You probably don't have the manpower to be attending to everyone, but you can actually scan this and automate the entire process. So they're there in the physical location and they're completing their action offline or online rather. That essentially is another way you can actually drive integration. What this does is that it allows you to track, allows you collect numbers, allows you to follow up with the digital offers later. You can look at this from the point of view of you as the business owner, and you can also look at this from the point of view of the customer, because again, it's all about convenience. You can actually, as a customer, decide that this is something you want to do at a later point, right? Another way or another example is what restaurants do these days, where instead of having a physical menu, they will just have a QR code on the table. Some people actually go as far as you being able to scan it and then making your order online. They try and make it as contactless as possible. So getting them to that physical location, you've already done that. And you already have like a digital element of your campaign that is integrated to allow a seamless transaction or to allow them get more information. You can also scan this to drive signups in store. And that's like a second way you can also do integration, which is encouraging digital signups in store. So an example is you ask your customers to join your WhatsApp list for exclusive deals. They've come in, you've given them your WhatsApp and then asking them, okay, this is a WhatsApp group, join this and you will get an exclusive deal, right? They can also fill a form or scan a QR code. I think I've mentioned this while they're paying. So when they're in store, they've picked everything that they want. There's this thing everyone does, and then this is actually one of the reasons why I was asking that as the first poll question. This thing a lot of people do is when they ask you, oh, what account number? With data has actually shown that less and less people are actually paying with ATM cards. More and more people are doing transfers and transactions directly from their bank apps, right? Instead of having to call out an account number that people can actually make mistakes, your store clerks can make mistakes. You yourself could actually make a mistake in how you've printed your account number. The person who is writing out the account number might actually make a mistake, right? All of what that does is that it creates a bottleneck in your checkout process. However, if you have a QR code, scan the QR code, it takes you to a checkout page. All you are doing is basically just putting in your details. The amounts that you are paying is already fixed. There is no extra conversation. There is no room for error. You've properly integrated your campaign, and this way you can also get your customers' details by doing this. This is also another interesting way of maybe building an email list or building your SMS list as well. You can also then offer a discount if they follow your business online or drop their phone number. So the thing about integration is that it allows your campaign become a lot more seamless. You can also drive integration with referrals. You can drive integration with things like affiliate marketing, getting people to refer other people. So you have, let's say, an influencer coming to your store and they're saying, scan this code to get a discount. Or the influencer can simply put this on their WhatsApp story, scan this code to get a discount and complete your check-in in store. Basically, the QR code is what enables the integration. There are also other ways to drive integration. You can use referrals, you can use word of mouth, but essentially, right, integration allows you to have a seamless flow of your campaign. Why is integration very important, right? The goal is to make it easy for your customers to take digital actions instantly. Whether they're still in your shop, whether they're at an event, or even if they've gone home, right? Integration ensures that you reduce the level of fall-off. So if someone goes to your store, they don't make a purchase, they're not doing anything, they're just maybe window shopping, or they go to an event and none of the offerings are really or catching their fancy in that moment. What integration does for you is that it allows them to take that action at their earliest convenience. So they scan the code, the code has taken them to a landing page. The landing page is already on their phone, right? They've signed up for further information. You can actually use that, like the information that they've given you, to then remarket to them, retarget them. So for example, if your customer sees a promo flyer in your shop, like I've said, you can immediately scan the QR code to chat on WhatsApp. They can actually scan the QR code to see the product online. And this is actually another way for you, if you have like a physical store, to reduce the traffic, maybe at your counter, where you have a QR code that tells people price. I've seen this happen in some places, in some stores, where the price is not very, very clear on the shelf. So they'll basically take the product and take it to an area in the shop where they can simply just scan. I mean, the product already has a barcode. You scan the barcode and it previews the price for you. You don't need to go all the way to the counter to ask, oh, how much is this? And they have to go back to the back of the line. And that, I mean, you can make all your decisions from one spot. Integration essentially just creates convenience for your customers, and convenience is a key way to drive anything you're doing in relation to campaigns, right? With integration, you reduce the chance of your audience, your customers forgetting, you reduce the chance of them getting distracted, and you also increase the chance of them making that final purchase by reducing the chance of them changing their mind. So this is essentially why integration is so important. It's one of those things that you can include in your campaign to make it a lot more effective. So And this integration is actually very, very key for people who might not have massive digital budgets to spend. You don't have a lot of money to spend on digital activities. You don't have ad spend like that, but you have a physical store. You have footfall already. You can use integration to build, let's say, your email list. You can use this QR integration, for example, to allow your customers make purchases at a later date. Also gives them an access to you directly, instead of having to, say, oh, text me on WhatsApp, this is the WhatsApp line. All of this is essentially to create convenience and to ensure that your process is seamless and straight to the point. So what integration does for you? Summarily, it closes sales faster by removing barriers, right? It allows you stay top of mind after your customers leave. It creates an easy follow-up opportunities. For example, scan to send us a message on WhatsApp. Once that has already been done, it's easy for you to follow up, right? It also gives you an opportunity to send future offers because they've simply scanned and maybe joined your network. And most importantly, integration allows you to track what's working and who's engaging. With integration, you are able to specifically tell the number of people who engage with your campaign. You are going from assuming, oh, I had 100 people in my store, that means my campaign reached 100 people. You might have had 100 people in your store, but only 20 people scanned. Means that your success is 20 people. Integration is the only way you'll be able to track your offline activities using online tools. So going straight into what the first discussion of today is, like I said, this is, for all intents and purposes, this class is supposed to be very interactive. So discussion one is, I want us to think about a time we saw something offline. It could have been a flyer, poster, in-store offer, something you basically saw offline. It wasn't online, you saw it. It wasn't on a digital channel, you saw it. But you saw this thing and it made you go online to learn more or take action. What made it work for you? And how do you think your own business can use something similar to turn offline interest into online engagement and sales? I will try and answer this, but if you are interested in, speaking in typical fashion, just raise your hand. Mr. Godwin will give you access to speak, or you can also just put an emoji in the comment section. So let me just give you my own example of something I saw offline that made me go online. I was at a brand event. I can't remember the exact one now, but what really stood out for me was the fact that it was a very large event. I think at the entrance, they had a QR code that led me to a map, right? And for me, that was the best thing that could have happened, because I'm the kind of person that would usually get overwhelmed in large spaces. So if there are too many people in one place, I'll probably get overwhelmed. I usually prefer smaller clusters of conversations or interaction. However, being able to scan and get a digital map allowed me simply know where I was going. And the map was so interactive that it showed me where I was and where to go. That way, I didn't need to look left, right, raise my hand, ask people questions, because some people might actually find that very overwhelming. I didn't need to do all of that. I basically scanned something that took me online, but also ensured that there was engagement. Also, because I scanned, the organizers of the event were also able to get a bit of my details. For example, they were able to get my email address from that simple interaction. That way, they sent me more emails afterwards, and all of it started from the fact that I was able to scan something and drive engagement, or do a little digital engagement. But that digital engagement allowed me be more present in the event, right? So that's something that I personally have seen offline that I thought was very interesting. Another example, I think I've given this example previously, going for an activation. I saw one of our competition. They in their table setup, they had these they're called tent cards. They had this tent card on their table and they had a QR code. Each QR code was for something else. They had a QR code to scan and download the app. They had another QR code for people who wanted to sign up for their business banking platform. And they had another QR code for an offer they were giving first-time customers, right? It reduced the amount of traffic on their table greatly, because their customers, being digital natives, were able to make decisions very, very quickly and seamlessly. So that's my example of something that I saw offline. So does anyone else want to just give an example of something that they are seeing offline that drove digital engagements? It could be like I said, a flyer that had a QR code. It could simply be maybe you saw a banner that told you to put a link in your browser, something like that. Just any example works. Does anyone have their hands raised? Mr. Godwin, I think someone in SS has their hand raised. Clement also has their hand raised. So you could just give them a chance to speak.
Hello.
Hi. Yeah,
Hello.
good.
Good evening.
Yeah,
Good
I can
evening,
hear.
sir. Good evening, everyone.
All
Okay,
right.
my example. Okay, in September 2023, I went for Kidwaya's get together, like for
Okay.
Big Brother, like his celebration for his fans at Eco Hotel. So prior to that, I've never like downloaded any bank app on my phone. I actually don't believe in doing transfers or doing anything online. Like I usually go to the bank or I use an ATM as an ATM machine or I go to the POS. But that day they said everybody should try and download PalmPay, the PalmPay app. As in there was a QR code for us to scan and download so that we could win a prize. So that was why I did it. Even though I didn't win, but since then I've been using Pampy and I've been enjoying the benefits of you doing online transfer, being using online banking and all. So yeah, that's like my example.
So that singular activity allowed you to become a customer of PalmPay.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Do you think that is something you could personally apply to your business, and how would you try and drive integration for your offline presence or your business generally? How would you use this integration that we've spoken about to drive online engagements for your business? It's fine if you don't have any response. It's not, just curious.
Oh, okay. Right now I don't. Okay, I sell. I have like a physical shop. I sell like provisions in Ikorodu,
Okay.
but it's just like a corner store, like a neighborhood corner store, like in front of my house.
Okay.
So like it's not online. I don't have anything online. It's just physical. But I really don't know how I'm going to, you know, translate that for that particular business. But what I want to do eventually is to like have my own like talent management company, like very soon, like manage
Okay.
artists and stuff. Like that's what I really want to do. But this issue of like translating this as in what we've been learning to my physical store, like my retail, my corner store, I really don't. Maybe buy one get one free, stuff like that, or maybe like creating maybe a WhatsApp group or channel for my customers
Yeah.
to like sign up and see like maybe the things I have on sale, maybe on promo, like maybe during Christmas or like Valentine's Day or maybe like back to school season, like maybe September, maybe some or maybe during maybe like Mother's Day now coming up, like the second iteration of Mother's Day. So maybe just to see maybe what I can offer my customers. I think yeah, that just came to me now. I think that's something I
Okay.
can do.
That's actually great. I like the fact that you're able to think of that on the spot. So you mentioned that you don't really have any online channels. What you can maybe do is create a WhatsApp community and embed your WhatsApp community into a QR code, something that you have a store. Anyone who comes in, you can just encourage them. If you join this WhatsApp community, maybe you would get a discount. But if you do this, you'll be able to build and take be able to apply some of the lessons we've learned from the WhatsApp class, right? But this integration is essentially how you're going to be able to build your WhatsApp community, scan, join, get a maybe get a discount or something like that. But yeah, similar to what you said, I think that that's maybe a way you can refine that. Okay, thank you very much, SS.
Okay, thank
Um,
you. Okay.
yeah, there's also someone else that has their hands up. Mr. Clement, I'm assuming you're a man.
Yes. Hello, everybody. Good evening.
Hi, good
Please, can
evening.
you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, all right, all right. So I remember I went to a restaurant, right? And I met the the people in charge, and I was like, okay, I want to get some. And then they brought gone are the days that they'll give you a long list of menu that you'll be checking page by page and page and page. So this one they brought a more of like a palette, and on the palette there was a barcode, right? So I just scanned the barcode and the code redirected me to the list of items they sell, from drinks to food to desserts and appetizers and the likes, right? So to cut the whole story short, when I was done, when I went home, I was quite amazed with how simple it's made the whole process. You don't even have to ask questions. You just see what you want to buy from that barcode, right? Then you just click on the thing and then they bring your order to you. So what I did was I'm actually a photographer based in Lagos. So
Okay.
I had to because when I go out and people ask me what do you do, I will have to start talking and be showing people my IG, my Instagram page and the likes, right? So it was quite stressful. So I had to, my Instagram link and my other social platforms, I had to incorporate all the links in a single barcode and then put it on my ID. So most times on my ID card. So most times when I go out, there is a barcode at the back of my ID card. So when you ask me, oh, so what do you do? I'll just be like, okay, okay, okay. Here's my ID. You can just scan this barcode and it will take you directly to my social platforms, and then you just you get to see some of my portfolios and projects I've actually worked on. So yeah, so that's how I've been able to incorporate from that moment, that day, right, or at the restaurants, I was able to incorporate it to my own business, and I won't lie, it has been one of the best experience. I don't have to talk too much. I don't have to send my links to anybody. Just a simple scan, and boom, you're in my page. So that's it.
I think personally, I think that's extremely brilliant because this is someone who has worked with a lot of photographers in the past. This is one thing that I think could have made it very seamless. Like you are at a brand event, for example, you see a photographer and you kind of like how they are like, what they're doing, and you really just want to strike a conversation. But
Right.
having to ask, what's your Instagram page? What do you do? All of that can simply be in one place. And the fact that you added that to your ID card, it's a simple way. Again, I think I really like this example because most of the examples I have given have been revolved around or have revolved around having a physical location. But this is actually very ingenious way. And I think other people on the call can actually borrow this. As simple as embedding it into your ID card or something that you carry on you can be a simple way to let people know what you're doing and also drive some digital engagement for whatever it is you have. Also remember that some people, they are the products, they are the service, they are the brand. They're not necessarily selling something physical, but they're offering a service. So they might not have an office. So how do you then still do digital integration if you don't have a physical location? And I think that this is a very, very interesting way to do this. I'm really impressed with that. Thank you so much for your
Thank you.
contribution. Abdul Hafiz in the comments said that he remembers when he was in camp doing Said and introduced some professional courses, but he couldn't get the full details. But because of the QR code, it took you to their websites, right? And in applying this to his business, what he's saying is that he can print a business card and a QR code and stick them, and that's also perfect. Another way, again, you can take things, physical things that you can have on your person and just use that to do like a quick introduction. So you know how people have business cards and have phone numbers. Your business card can simply just be a QR code, get them to scan it, and it gives them all the information. It could be your portfolio, your website, your Instagram page. I think that's also great as well. Thank you, Mr. Abdulafiz. Thank you, Clemens. Thank you, SS, for your contributions. Okay, so quickly, let's go into what the next element of the class is. But before we do that, Mr. Godwin, could you help us with the second poll? Thank you. Okay, how do most of your customers pay right now? See, again, there's really I'm just trying to gauge something because the next thing that we're going to discuss is digital payments. And it's it's still us talking about integration and how you can actually integrate offline to online. But yeah, personally, I mean, if I'm to answer this as a customer, I personally would prefer using either a POS or transfer. My beef with transfers is that sometimes I have to wait for it to be confirmed. And if the banks are having issues, then that just delays me. I would rather use an ATM card with a POS machine. Okay. Thank you. And I'm not really surprised. Most people actually, and that's what I was saying earlier, we have actually more data now to show that more Nigerians are doing transfers. I'm actually surprised no one picked a POS machine, maybe because I'm biased to POS machines, but generally, Nigerians would prefer to do a bank transfer. I don't know if you guys, if whenever you're in an Uber, you're asking for like a means of payments, if it's a cash trip, most probably you're going to do a transfer. You're not carrying that amount of cash. And even if you're carrying that amount of cash, you're most probably not going to give that amount of cash, right? You have more people doing bank transfers. And for payments generally, right, I think between customers and businesses, bank transfers seem to be the easiest way for people to actually do transfers or make payments. It makes you avoid carrying cash, which has been disastrous to some people in the past. Also allows you be in a lot more control, because if you're looking at this is just me as a personal thing now. For me, one of the easiest ways for me to say no to something is if I want to do a transfer and I say that my account balance will be looking very somehow afterwards, I can simply just say no and keep it pushing, right? So we're now going to go straight into digital payments and integration and how that essentially works. So digital payments is not just about collecting money, right? They're about making it easy for your customers to take action immediately, especially when linked to your campaign, right? When someone sees your offer online or in store, you want them to buy easily. You don't want a situation where they're trying to pay and for some reason the bank that you're using is down. And unfortunately for me, right, one of the banks I use is Zenith Bank, and when I tell people I use Zenith Bank, they're always mocking me because one is usually, and to be fair to them, I mean, it has gotten better in the last couple of months, but there was a period where Zenith Bank was bad, right? And imagine now you as a business owner, you are using Zenith Bank or any Nigerian bank during that period where they're maybe having a downtime, and you're trying to get people to pay, and they're telling you that yes, it's a problem with your accounts. That automatically causes a problem. The moment you realize that you cannot pay for a product, it's easy to walk away, right? Having seamless digital payments or digital payments integrated into your campaign ensures that there is ease for collecting money. So you as the business, you can easily collect money, and for your customers as well, it can, it allows them, it reduces the drop off. That's basically what I'm trying to say. So digital payments and integrating digital payments into your campaign makes your offline to online integration complete. We've spoken about how you can do some things, especially using a QR code, referrals, and all of that. But what allows your integration become really complete is when you've successfully integrated a payment method that is very seamless. The whole point of integration is ensuring that your campaign and your consumer journey is seamless, right? So when you do this, it takes them straight from awareness to interest to action to seamless payment. So the moment they know about your product, they're interested and they're ready to take an action, your payment has to be seamless, because if the payment is not seamless, then there will obviously be a drop-off. So one of the biggest challenges about payment integrations is that most times it works with a website. It has to work with a website. So I'm not going to focus on any form of digital payment integration that needs a website, right? We're looking at simple payment options that work without a website, especially for small business owners who might not have a website. You can still find a way to, do this thing that we're talking about, especially considering that oftentimes you don't always want to say, oh, OPay, they start calling out your account at every customer. It can be very daunting sometimes. It could lead to mistakes. It could also lead to people diverting funds as a business owner. So if you have like store clerks or something, and this has happened to people that I know, the people that they hired were giving customers their personal accounts, right? They will mark up the price. They'll do their own what's it called? Financial alignment afterwards. They'll give you back your money, but they've probably cheated your customer, and they could possibly cheat you as well. So payment links are one of the easiest ways to collect money digitally. You don't really need any technical skills. You don't actually need a website. What you need is a platform. Now, there are platforms like Paystack, Flutterwave, MoneyPoints that allows you to generate a unique link, which is basically what a payment link is a unique link that takes your customer to a secure payment page. So it's how you want to make a payment, for example. And the best example I can use is Chowdeck. Chowdeck does not collect your money offline, right? I know that everything about Chowdeck is online, but they've integrated a digital payment solution in a way that it just works. One of the payment solutions is to pay with your bank, and that is powered by Paystack. What that does is that it just gives you a pop-up page, gives you an account number, and gives you the exact amount you're supposed to pay. All you have to do is just copy it. There are other ways to do this. I mean, with Paystack, for example, you can actually create a payment page and copy a link. What you can do with that payment page is that one thing I actually find very, very interesting with that payment page is that you can create links for one-off payments, and you can also ensure that the exact amount of that payment is detailed. So you can actually now do this in relation to every product that you have. So if you're the kind of business that you are selling, you're most probably going to be selling one thing at a time, right? What you can simply do is to ensure that that link is embedded into what that product, like as they're seeing the product, they're seeing the link. They can click the link if it's an offline or online app or website or web page. If it's offline, you can simply just, put it in a QR code, let them scan, takes them automatically to the payments page. They make their payments simple, straight to the point. No errors will be made. The only time an error will be made is if in setting up your link, you made an error, but that most probably is not going to happen, right? So a payment link is a simple payment option that would work seamlessly without a website. Someone is saying any bank is still bad. I use them more often than not. I'll be very unfair to say that they're that bad. They're not actually. They've gotten really. Anyways, they've gotten better in the last couple of months. So another option or a payment option that works without a website is a QR payment. And QR codes are perfect for physical businesses that want to go digital. What you basically do is you create a QR code, and in the place where you're supposed to put your website, just put a payment link, right? Just print it, place it somewhere visible. And I think I've actually touched on this in the previous points, but it's perfect for when you have an event. And I've seen this a lot in events. Just scan, pay for your ticket, pay for your food, keep it pushing, right? If you have a market stall or a pop-up, a QR code becomes something that allows your customers scan and pay immediately, and in-store checkouts as well, especially useful for walk-in customers. All they have to do is basically point to the QR code, scan it, and their phone will handle the rest. Also makes a lot of sense considering that they will most probably be making payments using their phone. So this essentially works when you are using transfers, which is why we had that poll at the start, saying that a lot of people would most probably be making, and especially for customers, your customers will most probably be doing a transfer. When you have a payment method that works like this, you reduce almost all chances for error. And nobody really wants to be making errors when they're trying to collect money. So I think that's also a very good thing that you could do in order for you to have like your campaign fully integrated. So look at it from start to finish of your campaign. You have a campaign that requires people to be in your store, right? And at the end of the campaign, they've shown interest, you've done everything, and they want to pay. All they have to do is simply scan and keep it pushing, right? You're not waiting for them to confirm anything. You're not depending on on your own network as the business owner, or your bank's network as the business owner. All of this, either you are doing it using a QR solution, or you are maybe using like a pay stack to generate a payment link that people can simply use and it's one-off. So this essentially is what we're trying to say. When you have a campaign and your campaign starts maybe offline or online, it's very important to ensure that you integrate elements into your campaign that allows people take advantage of online solutions. So they're walking into your store, you're trying to get them to pay for a service that you have simply made. And I think that QR payments, for example, would simplify payment on delivery, right? So these are ways that you can actually just integrate payment into your campaigns without actually having a website. I think that it becomes a lot more daunting when you would now have to start integrating payments into your website and doing all of that jazz. These are simple things that you can do. You can have your WhatsApp, you can have your Instagram, you can have your Facebook and do all of this and still integrate your campaigns properly. Okay, so before we go into what the next thing is, and before the third poll comes on, let me quickly show you a quick demo on, what's a payment link, how you can get the payment link out. Most probably just be using Paystack. So again, for Paystack, all you have to do is sign up. It's very easy. The only daunting thing about signing up on Paystack is that they will ask you to select if your business is registered or if it's a simple business, right? If your business is not registered, if you don't have a CAC, if you don't have your CAC done and all those other documentation, it's fine. You can still sign up, right? Once you've completed your sign up, all you need to do is to come to this place here called payment pages, right? What you then do is create a new page. So there are three options, and I'm using Paystack as an example. You can use any platform. All platforms have their different formats, but you can essentially do all this on any other platform. I prefer Paystack because I've used Paystack before, right? And you can select one-time payments. You can decide that you want to create a payment link for a subscription payment for your customers, and you can decide that you want to have a product payment. So this is going to be attached to each product. So for one-time payments, for example, you just click on choose. It's simple. Just detail. You can just do whatever your product name is. You can name it after, or you can name the page after your product. So let's just say cash payments for shirts. Then they'll ask you to put a description. That's optional. You can put that if you want. The SEO image, this basically means an image that you can add that, once they click on the link, it just adds more structure to what they're going to see. So you can add an image. It's optional. You don't need this to actually do this or to set this up. And then you can decide that you want a fixed amount on this page. This is what I was talking about. This removes errors. And then you can also then indicate that you want to collect phone numbers. This is where you, as a customer, can then build out your SMS list or your WhatsApp list, right? Put the amount that they're supposed to pay. So if the shirt is 10,000 naira, it's 10,000 naira. The only amount that they will pay is 10,000 naira. Nothing more, nothing less. Show advanced options. You can actually edit your link, right? Slash shirts for sale. But the problem with this is that it has to check if the URL is available. So if the URL is not available, you won't be able to use this. This is optional, right? Some people actually prefer to do this. If you can actually then add your business name at the end. So it's very clear that it is a link for your business. You can say Moshi01 or something like that. Anything, as long as it is available in their system. And that's how URLs work. If someone else has used it, you probably will not be able to use. You can insist that you want them to be redirected to maybe your WhatsApp page or your WhatsApp channel, and then you just put the link there. You can decide that you want to put a message after they made their payments, that's it, basically. Once you do that, click on create. That's it. Copy your link, and you can then send this link to whoever you want to make that payment. So they've messaged you on Instagram or let's say WhatsApp, and they're asking you for payment details. Just do this, copy the link, I mean, you can do this one time and just share the same link over and over again. Now, if you want to embed this link into a creating QR codes are it's very easy, straight to the point. So I've copied the link. Now you come to this website called QRFI, or you can use any QR code creation website. You can just simply just go to Google and click on create QR codes. And it's I literally clicked on the first sites that came up, right? Enter your website, Control V, put in the link that you've just copied. That's it. And you can just download your QR code from here to download as an image. You can then print this and put anywhere. You can also you can use the soft copy, embed that into your website, or embed that into whatever. You can just embed it anywhere. Send this to anyone. All they have to do is simply scan. Right now, I'm very certain that if you try scanning this QR code with your phone, it will take you to this link. And that's essentially, I mean, the reason why I wanted to do this demo is because it's very straight to the point and it's very easy to do. Okay. So, I see there are questions. Mr. Godwin, can you help us pull the poll out? Thank you. So the last poll for today is, which of these have you used to reach your customers directly on their phone? You can pick anyone. Okay. While we're doing that, yeah, there's a question, please, how do I create this QR code? I think I've just done that. Clement, I'm not sure I understand your question. What do you mean, what illustration? If you could just clarify that, and then I'll attend to that maybe towards the end of the class or at some other point. Okay. Mr. Godwin, are we done with the poll? Okay, which of these have you used to reach your customers directly on their phones? WhatsApp broadcast, phone calls. I see that most people have not done bulk SMSs, and fortunately, that is the next thing that we want to talk about, right? And bulk SMSs and SMS marketing generally is one simple way to add digital integrations into your campaigns. We know how we've discussed scanning, getting a QR code, collecting numbers, all of that. You can then use that and then send follow-up messages with a bulk SMS platform. Okay. Okay. So SMS marketing, I think this is very, very straight to the point. I believe that everyone on this call has probably at some point gotten an SMS email, or sorry, I said an SMS email, gotten an SMS marketing message before, right? SMS, I mean, when you get notifications from your bank, for example, that's SMS marketing. When you are trying to pay for your light bill and you put your phone number, and then Ikeja Electric sends you the instructions, the next thing to do, that's SMS marketing. Basically, it's using text messages to connect with customers for updates, promos, sales, or even reminders, right? So it really, one of the effective things about SMS marketing, and the reason why I'm highlighting this as part of something we should learn in this digital marketing course, is that it works. It's effective because people are always checking their phone, right? However, the downside of SMS marketing is that it's intrusive marketing. It leverages personal data, and the only way for you to get personal data is if they can surrender that personal data. Not that there are not ways that you can get other people's phone numbers and be blasting them with SMSs, but if I'm not expecting an SMS from you and I've not consented, it will fail. And that's why it's usually not recommended, because you have to then do the hard work of getting phone numbers. Also, even when you get phone numbers, some people might not be interested in your promo and they'll probably not just do it, but it's very cheap to do, right? And it's also something that you can do. It probably should not be the forefront of your campaign. It's something that it's a nice to have that can enhance your campaign and also enable you achieve proper integration, right? So one thing about SMS marketing you need to understand is that it requires permissions and valid consents. Before you send someone a marketing text, I'm emphasizing this, I'm using God to beg, get their permission. It is a crime in this country to send people SMS texts without their consent, especially for marketing purposes, the actual data laws in place, right? And the law on consent is very, very, very straight to the point. And I've tried to just summarize it this way. Your message needs to be clear. The person, when you're trying to get their permission, it needs to be clear what they're signing up for. You can't lie. You can't tell them, I mean, just don't lie, just go straight to the point and be very clear as to why you need their phone number. And please, the second thing is that it must be voluntary, meaning that there should be an option for them to opt out. If you keep sending people SMS messages and they cannot say that they are not interested again, it's a crime. Please don't do it. It must also be specific. When you are asking for their consent, be specific as to what you want to use their number for. And the last thing is that it has to be easy to stop. Do you understand? That's why MTN will be sending you messages and they'll tell you, oh, please reply stop to this number so that we'll stop disturbing your life. It is not it's very compulsory, it's mandatory. You have to do it. You can't trick people and you can't assume that they said yes, right? In this case, silence is not agreement. Please, I'm actually begging. Don't do that thing that people would do where they would like put it in fine print. No, you can actually get sued for that. So please, with SMS marketing, it's very, very important that you gain consent, you gain permission. If you're not able to do this, then don't do SMS marketing, which is why I said it's a nice to have. It's not something that you should heavily rely on, especially if you do not have the database to heavily rely on that. Right. These are legal ways to ask for numbers. It's not illegal if you do any of these things. One, a sign-up form. Use a physical form or an online form with a box that says, I want SMS deals. I mean, you probably see this in when you're trying to fill a form to sign up, like to get a bank account, for example, or just to sign up for anything. There would be check boxes, right? You can opt to say, okay, I don't want SMSs. Second is another legal way, rather, to ask for numbers is that you can ask them at their checkout, right? Just again, consent is key. Simply ask, would you like SMS updates? And this is where you can then try to sell them reasons why you want their number. Oh, we're not just trying to get you to be bombarding you with messages. We actually think you are a great customer and we want to be able to reach you personally. If you opt in to get SMS notifications from us, you will be the first person to hear about a discount. Don't lie, but you can use, if that's what you're going to do, you can actually use that in selling it. Another legal way to ask for people's number is at your event. Again, you can use this with a digital device. The QR codes is a way. If you are using your payment links, for example, you can actually collect numbers, but please be very, very, very specific and be very clear to your customers that you're getting their number. And yeah, another legal way is online, or like, for example, with WhatsApp, a button that allows people, just join and to start receiving messages is very, very key, right? Always reply with a confirmation and explain what they're signing up for. So if someone should sign up to get SMS notifications, please always tell them what they're signing up for. It's very important. Some people actually sign up for stuff and they're not actually aware that they're signing up for it, right? Please, it's very, very important that you do these things. Okay. Do's and don'ts. Quickly, I'll just run through this. Do's and don'ts of SMS marketing. 1, always ask clearly before collecting your number. 2, tell people what kind of messages they'll receive. 3, give people a way to opt out. I've said all of this. Number 4, please, if they are on DND, they say they don't want to be disturbed, respect that, right? Now don't add people without asking. The reason why I am emphasizing this because I have been a victim of SMS marketing. I genuinely dislike it when I get messages I did not sign up for, right? And it's a marketing trend, especially in the digital space, for people to actually buy phone numbers. And I'm trying to discourage you from doing that. Please don't do that. It's not right. It's not legal. Also put into consideration that your customer will dislike you, right? Don't do that. And that thing is, don't use one person's number to contact someone else. Don't do that, right? Do not hide consent in fine print. I've mentioned that. Please, when you are asking for permission, please let it be very clear, right? Also, do not send messages after someone has unsubscribed. This is something that people actually, I've seen people make this mistake before, because sometimes your unsubscribe button might not work, right? So if they've told you repeatedly that they don't want to get messages from you, then do the manual thing by removing them from your mailing list or removing them from your SMS list. And the last thing you should not do, I actually should have put this in bold. Don't buy lists of phone numbers from third parties. This is something a lot of people do. I don't recommend it. As a customer, I would dislike, I will block you. Me personally, as a customer, I will block you. As someone who helps businesses grow, I would not recommend this. It's not fair. So you're like, I don't think marketing is that deep that you really need to be that shady with your efforts. Please do. And they will always, and there are services that have phone numbers. And let me also clarify, this is not limited to just SMS marketing. It's limited to any form of intrusive marketing, anything that requires people to sign up. Please don't buy phone numbers. Don't buy emails. Don't buy. Ensure you build your list as organically as possible. Let your customers give you these details very, very willingly. Okay. There's some comments. Yes. Really, it's against the law. Yeah. Anyone who is sending you a marketing text that you don't know, please opt out, right? If you're getting a text from a brand and you do not remember when you signed up for that, they hid the consent in fine print. Banks do this a lot. Please just sign up, just sign out rather. You can just tell them you're not interested again. Please, there are data protection laws. One of the worst things, and this is something I've seen in Nigeria happen, and it's happened a lot. There are laws in Nigeria. Not everybody would, what's it called? They might not enforce those laws today, but the day they decide to enforce those laws, no, they will not. You will not cry, you will not beg, they will not hear sorry. And that's the thing about Nigeria. So please, it's better to be safe than sorry. It's against the law. I beg you, do not buy customer data. Do not get information from third parties, especially when you don't know who these people are, right? They did not give you their number willingly. Okay. All right. Now, this is the final discussion point. After this, we'll take some other questions. So again, if you have, and I think I've kind of answered this, I didn't do a slide dedicated to this because I wanted us to discuss this, but I've kind of answered this directly. So there are no wrong answers. I want to be able to see how, we've talked about offline campaign integration, we've talked about campaign integration generally. How do you think SMS marketing can help you drive this? Okay, if you want to answer this, like in typical fashion, just raise your hands in the comments. Responses would be rewarded with airtime. So Mr. Godwin, anyone who has their hands raised, please just give them permission to speak. Again, there are no wrong answers, please. There are no wrong answers, but I would really like you to try. Okay, all right. Mr. Godwin, I think 2 people have raised their hands now. Would you help give them access?
All right. Hi, everybody. So from my own point of view and from the things Mr. Moshope have said so far on today's class, I personally think it's a good hack, but it's not going to be my first choice in terms of, for example, if I'm already like trying to like working on digital marketing, I'm already like I've positioned my ads, paid ads, and meta ads, and all of that, Google ads, and that's going. Then I just think SMS is more like going to be like a support. So an example is because I worked in a company whereby they had an app. So the app was made for tailors, and the app is like a measurement app whereby tailors don't need to like put their measurements in the paper anymore. So they kind of like upload on that app, and the measurements are like recorded forever. There are like interfaces that is very easy for every layman, like even the most tailors that are not educated can actually use it. So where the SMS marketing now came in for us was whereby we now have to like start sending SMS reminders to, oh, good morning, Funshaw, and do not forget to like upload your new client measurement. So that kind of like worked because it was like we're using it as a support tool, and those SMS they were cheaper for us to use as well. And so yeah, for me, I would think it's a good support, but it should not be like your main or used in a main form. Thank you.
Yeah, and I actually I actually agree with you, right? I don't think, I stand to be corrected, right? Thing about digital marketing and doing digital strategy is that your opinions sometimes might not be relevant to a specific case. However, personally, I agree with you. I don't necessarily think that SMS marketing should be at the forefront of whatever your campaign is. It is a great support element, right? I like the example you used. So yes, you're very correct. Does anyone else want to try? Let's quickly wrap up. I think SS and Clement have their hands up. So let's just take their own comments on this question and then we wrap it up. I have just a few more minutes. Or we can just take one more comment. Mr. Godwin, please.
Oh, yes, yes. Go ahead.
Okay. So SS and Clement have their hands raised. You can just give either of them a chance to speak. I think, if I remember correctly, I think SS had her hand up first, but anyone of them is fine. All right.
Okay, good evening. I think like Funsho said earlier, SMS marketing is not really in vogue. Like it's not the first option, but it has its own advantage because like my parents, they don't use big phone, they don't use smartphones, they still use like the usual 2G phones. So they get most of their updates from SMS marketing. And in church, like we use it for like reminders for like programs, like conferences, or like maybe when we want to like do Bible school or like maybe integrate newcomers into the church. So we use like more of like SMS marketing and of course social media to remind church members about programs and stuffs going on in the church. So I think SMS marketing still has its advantage. Just like there are so many young people that are on social media, but not so many on Facebook. But I think Facebook is still like the number one social media app in Nigeria. So there are still so many people on Facebook by the time you look at all the age groups. So I think SMS marketing is still useful in today's society. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. So just to wrap up, right? How do I think SMS marketing can drive offline campaign integration? So let's imagine this. Imagine that there is a promotion happening in one of the stores in ShopRite. You are a recurring customer, right? If I were to use SMS marketing to try and drive that, I would do SMS marketing for customers within that vicinity. So if you are in a 50-mile radius and you shopped with us before, you get that SMS notification. Oh, you are within this 50-mile radius. You are not actually far. There's a 10% discount going on inside the store for the next 2 hours. Can you make it? That's all I would say, right? This is using SMS marketing as a direct, and I know that we've all said that, oh, SMS marketing might not necessarily be your go-to. However, in a situation like this, it works. The only disadvantage is that you are really reducing your target audience because it is going to now be heavily hinged on chance and availability. However, it doesn't cost you that much money, so you would probably not spend as much. So it can be a support element. But I'm offline. It's an online thing that's going to possibly drag me into the store. So I think it works. So SMS marketing is just one of those things that, yeah, have it. It drives offline campaign integration, and but like everyone has said, I don't think that should be the forefront of any of your campaigns. I actually want us to show us, but maybe what I'll do is I'll put this in the group chat. There's a platform for bulk SMS in case you are interested in it. It's very simple, straight to the point, but please, I'm begging, don't send bulk SMSs to people who have not given you their number, please. All right. Thank you. So let's just go straight into what the take-home assignment is. Right. In one page, again, this will be put on the group chat, but I'll just run through. In one page, describe how you connect your offline business with your online presence. I just want you to personalize everything that we've learned in this class. More points for giving ideas that we've not discussed, right? So I'm not necessarily expecting you to just, well, this is what we discussed, this is what I'm going to do. Try and just, like, this example that I just gave is not something that was in anything that we discussed, but it's something that I thought of, like, as we were discussing. So in one page, describe how you connect your offline business to your online presence. You would like describe how you are going to encourage customers at your shop to take digital action. So you need to define what the action is. Then what kind of tools are you going to use? Are you going to use SMS message? Are you going to use a payment link? Like, just anything works. It doesn't have to be all three. It can even be something outside of this, right? It doesn't have to be what we've discussed. And then how do you plan to collect phone numbers to stay in touch after sale? This is very important. Please, your answer should be practical to your business or any business that you are referencing. Let it not, yeah. And that's it. Next week, we're going to be talking about analytics and reporting. So stay tuned. And that's the final class for next week. So thank you very much, Mr. Godwin. I'm sorry, I think I must have taken so much time, but over to you.
That's okay. That's okay. So yeah, thank you everybody. It was quite a very engaging and insightful session. So like our facilitator mentioned, next weekend's class is the final class for digital marketing, but it's not the last class for the program. So this program was generally created to build the digital capacity of young entrepreneurs to have them put their business online and have a better online presence. So we have entrepreneurship course coming up just after digital marketing. Um, as an entrepreneur, you need to learn financial literacy skills. You need to learn how to budget smartly. You need to learn how to borrow smartly. You need to know the dynamics of money and how to use money. So after this course, we'll be moving on to entrepreneurship. So guys, please stay tuned on the WhatsApp platform. Adara Foundation is not done with you guys yet. So please do join the last class for digital marketing. You know what? There's something I will notice that the last class is always very engaging and interesting. So please tell your friends that digital marketing class is ending next Saturday and they shouldn't miss that last class. If you're not on the WhatsApp platform, please indicate in the chat room so that I can send you the WhatsApp platform link. It is important to be there so that you can get easy access to information, easy access to the facilitators as well. And please do follow us on all social media platforms, Adara Foundation, on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, so that you can get information about new programs that are about to start. And thank you so much. See you guys next weekend. Bye for now.